I'm curious, your philosophy. Some coaches in this facility won't look beyond today. When you look at the next couple weeks, do you look at the big picture and think where you guys need to slot and how you would get there, or is it a tunnel vision thing?
I don't know that we can afford to look ever past, the next game. I just don't know that we have that experienced or that level of control, that you would love to see a team have, and mostly just because we are just finding our way almost every single time we go out. But I think it's one of those things that because I like this team so much and I really respect what they've been able to do and the challenges and the shortcomings that they've been able to overcome, it just makes me want them to have some really good things happen for them. So it's more a case of I would just love to see it happen for them, just to have that opportunity. But at the same time, I'm really realistic about, just again, how inexperienced we are, how small we are, how much every time out we seem to be finding something else new about ourselves, So we'll see, we think about it, sure. But do we plan? Not quite yet.
I mean, how important would you see being at least 6-7, if not 5, just because of where you wouldn't get UNLV on the second day?
Right. Yeah, I think it's very important. I mean, I think certainly Fresno, huge game. San Diego State, huge game next week. And those are the two, and those guys in Nevada. I mean, we split with Nevada, so we have to get Fresno because we lost to them the first time. It's our very first conference game right after Christmas, and those are the people I'm looking at. I sort of figure UNLV, Wyoming, New Mexico, out of reach. How much can we battle with the people that are left below those guys? Boise State seems to be distancing themselves a little bit. And they should. I mean, that's as veteran a team as there is in the conference, and they have been, playing really well. And that's our very last game. And could it have an impact? Sure, it could. But it's also, those guys are really doing a good job right now too. But then there's those people in the middle. I still think the 5th spot's a little bit up for grabs, but it's going to take us having a pretty spectacular ending, I think, to get there.
What's the update on Joe? I know she came out early the other day.
Well, we did an MRI this morning just to be sure. Sometimes whenever you're coming off surgery and in those initial, times that you go hard, you discover some things that, just are normal with coming back from a serious injury. Hopefully that's all it is. Sometimes it's a little tweak or a little, you pinch something or whatever, and it just flares up a little bit. So hopefully that's all it is. But we did get an MRI. We should know this afternoon. We don't think it's we don't think it's her ACL, but hopefully we'll have her on Wednesday.
Is that a situation where have you ever dealt with this? First of all, at this late in the season, bringing somebody back into the fold?
Never in this type of a situation. Never where we have them trying to figure out where they're at with a knee, in January and February. The only time we've had players come back from knee surgeries, it's been at the beginning of the practice or at the beginning of the year, and you have plenty of time to kind of figure out, how they're going to fit in, how that knee's going to hold up and everything. This is a unique circumstance, and it's unique, I think, because of Jo and what she brings to our team and her level of experience. I mean, just the way she started that game against who were we playing? Utah State. Just the way she started that game against Utah State was very much Jo. Jo. We go out, we're facing the zone, and here's Jo just picking it apart. And that's when you realize, gosh, you sure do miss that. So hopefully it's nothing serious, but we'd sure, at the same time, we're just, we're going to protect Jo no matter what.
Has there been any thought to maybe, you say what she brings, but for the collective, could it be a better situation to just hold her out?
If we think that is, yes. But again, remember, she doesn't get this year back. And so I think that if we felt at all that her health was in any danger, I mean, even now we're moving really slow. She only had a certain number of minutes, and I had to think about whether or not I wanted to use them in a starting spot, and decided to do it because of their zone and how good she is against the zone. But we would certainly never endanger her health. That's
no, I
always
didn't think
gonna
that.
be
I just kind of
first.
wondered maybe if even for the team, just for the continuity's sake, and with Jordan Devon playing the way she is, just different options. If maybe it's something you would even consider just abandoning.
Maybe, I mean, as I said, if that's what's best for Joe, absolutely. But otherwise, if she wants to play and it's okay for her to play, sure, we're going to give her an opportunity to at least be a part of things to some extent. Mm-hmm.
And then we can talk about this more later, because I'm sure I'll write about her. But with Milani, like, in your experience, how many players have you had who have become this kind of scorer when they maybe weren't initially, and just grew into it so rapidly and consistently now? Like, it's a little crazy.
She's been, I mean, Madison Smith did it a little bit last year, went from a very minor role to a major role. But Milani she was playing, pretty fair amount last year, and had moments of brilliance. I don't know, like I can remember in January she was really playing well last year, but she was a freshman and did what freshmen sometimes do, kind of hit the wall a little bit and had some ups and downs and things like that. But she has what's been fun to watch this year is just to watch her get better and better and better and better. And right when you think, oh my gosh, can she get any better? In some ways she does. She's just so heady and she's so steady. There's nothing that flusters that kid. She just keeps on, doing her thing and doesn't get too high or too low. So I think she has some potential to just really have a great year.
Do you think she's first team Mountain West?
Oh, I think she is, but without question. I just hope we can finish strong enough that she gets that consideration.
Coach, what concerns you most about Fresno State from the first time you played them to now?
They're a big team, and those big teams always tend to give us a little bit of trouble. And they, they zoned us. It seems like ages ago. It's kind of crazy in the Mountain West. You got a team that you haven't seen, it seems like, for months. You're trying to remember when you played them. And then you've got another that you just saw 2 weeks ago, and now you're going to see them again. And so I do think we've gotten much better offensively. And I think that will hopefully, serve us well. That was what we struggled at. We just struggled scoring the ball last time we played them. But I think that they're long. They they remind me a little bit of kind of all of us that are in the middle. They've got some really good strengths. They've got some weaknesses. And it's kind of like whose strengths are going to show up and whose weaknesses are going to bite them the most, And I think that I'm sure they'll go after us on the boards. I'm sure that we're still going to have a hard time scoring against them because they're big. So it'll be, like I said, an important game. And Wednesdays have been a struggle for us. We've been exploring how do we tackle Wednesdays? How do we get ourselves in a better place to be able to perform like we can on Wednesdays because of it being, life at the academy, getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, going to class all day, then coming down and, trying to get ready to play a basketball game. And we're looking at some things. We're trying, because we know Wednesdays have been just tough for us. We just haven't looked like ourselves on Wednesdays.
Final question I have for you. You brought up freshmen hitting a wall. You got 2 freshmen in your starting lineup. Does that concern you?
It concerns me, but I haven't seen it. So I do think these guys are, as tough-minded a freshman class. Even some of the upperclassmen were saying the other day, they were talking about how the freshmen approach the academy and how the freshmen approach coming to practice, and they said, "Man, you recruited the right kids." I said, "Yeah, they're just a unique class. They really are." So hopefully they don't have too much of a struggle with just staying fresh, staying engaged. I think they weathered January, so I think they're in a pretty good place right now.